CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
In one of the earlier episodes, we had talked about the Raga Lakshana of Mohanam. Today we look into the same raga to see how it is a universal scale which is prevalent in almost all the music systems of the world, and that is something very, very unique. The scale Mohanam is pentatonic, as we all know. That is, it takes the 5 notes: sa ri ga pa da sa da pa ga ri sa. Now, in the Hindustani counterpart, also it is prevalent as bhoop or bhupali, and we see that whether it is the classical tradition of China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and folk and devotional tradition of Tibet, Mongolia, Oceania, Africa, Russia, and other ancient countries. Everywhere we see that this scale of Mohanam is prevalent, and it is very predominantly used as part of the music here in all these countries. Why, even in Australia and United States, we see that this scale is prevalent. And of course, though the scale is there in all the countries, they do not use it the same way as we do, in the sense that we have gamakas like the Kampeta Gamaka, the Jaru, the Janta, etc. But the other countries actually use this particular scale in a more straight manner, in the sense that the notes are rendered much more plain. But nevertheless, we see that the scale is there in all these countries' music as well. And Mohanam as a scale is supposed to be a perfect one, a perfect scale, as it contains the most consonant intervals. What do we mean by this? For example, sa ri ga pa da sa, where you see sa pa ri da da ga pa sa da ri ga da. Like this, we see that the consonant intervals are very ideal here. And this scale actually turns into a raga when it has been composed. The raga has been used to compose many songs by our great Vagyakaras. We see that this particular scale attains multi-dimensions because of the beautiful compositions we have in them. Also, we see that all kinds of gamakas are used here, and all musical forms, as I mentioned in one of the earlier episodes, that the Geetam, the Varnam, the Kriti, Tillana, Padam, Javli, there are so many kinds of compositional forms which have used Mohanam as a medium for composition. Now, coming to another very, very important thing is about the modal shift of tonic. That is, in Mohanam, if we take the Ri as the Sa, Ri becomes the Shadja through modal shift of tonic, it results in the ragam Madhyamavati. Now, if the Ga is taken as the Shadja, it results in Hindolam. And if the Pa is taken as Shadja, it becomes Suddha Saveri. And if the Dha is taken as the Sa, then it results in Suddha Danyasi. So this concept of the modal shift of tonic, or what we call as the Grahabedam, it works very well in the ragam Mohanam. And the music of East Asia and Southeast Asia use Mohanam and other of these what we call as the scales which are derived by the tonic shifting, tonal shifting of notes. All these scales derived from this are also used by these music of the East Asia and Southeast Asia. And we see that, let us take a few examples to see how it is applied, in the sense that in China we see that the basic scale is known as the Wu Sheng, and this is equivalent to what is known as the Mohanam. And here basically they have the 12 lus or pitches, and in that the first 5 notes are the pentatonic scale. Coming to the Japanese music, we see that they follow very much the similar lines of the Chinese music. And here also we see that they are, for example, you have the 2 major pentatonic scales here, and they are called as In and U. and the in scale actually resembles the Mohanam. And as far as China is concerned, we see that the Peking opera, which is very internationally well known, there we see that they abound in the use of the ragam Mohanam as part of the opera music. Coming to Korean music, there also we see that it follows China. So similarly, we see that Mohanam is used predominantly in Korean music also. Then we come to here, actually the pentatonic scale is called as Akshi Jo. And in Thailand, again, we follow that the music follows the Chinese pattern. So Mohanam is there. And Thailand also has got Indian influence. So it's got a double kind of advantage of the Chinese as well as the Indian influence in having Mohanam as a scale. And Malaysia, we see that is influenced very much by Indian music, and that way Mohanam as a scale is also prevalent here. In Indonesia, the 7-note scale and the 5-note Mohanam and also the derivatives from the modal shift, all of them actually form a part of the music culture. Coming back to Indian classical music, we see that in Hindustani music, as I mentioned earlier, the Bhup or Bhupali is the counterpart of our Mohanam. And here also we see the different compositional forms like the Drupad, Khyal, Thumri, Thappa, Bhajan, and many such genres. Actually, all of them, they are composed in the ragam Mohanam. Why we also see that in the folk music of the north is we see that Mohanam is also used as a scale for composing music. Thus, it is very, very interesting to note how Mohanam as a scale as well as a ragam is universal. So probably we could also say that it is one raga which offers scope for the concept of unity in diversity.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.